Now we're going to talk about taking your first steps towards embracing being childless. Now, we've kind of talked about a little about this already, but I think what's really important, and it does bear repeating, is to start where you are. Now, what I mean by this is, if you kind of don't want to embrace your childlessness, that's okay. That's normal. Embracing childlessness sounds like a bit of a stretch right now. I mean, it might be just kind of actually just getting through today without crying is kind of what I was hoping for. Absolutely. But also, as human beings, we really, 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 really don't like change. We really want to control everything. And that's the part of us that is our ego. Now, our ego, sometimes the word ego has come to mean someone who is egotistical, but that's actually not what it means. In kind of psychology, what it means is the parts of us, the part of our mind that knows we are us. So I know that I am Jodie. That is my ego. Ego is just a Latin word for me, I. Just sounds a bit grander, which is, I think, why when they did the translations of Freud's work, they just called it ego because it sounded nicer than the I. My ego's job is to keep me safe, to keep my identity safe, to keep my fragile human body safe, to be always on the lookout for anything that might be a problem. It's there to protect me and my identity. It really doesn't like change because change is risk. Change means I'm going to willingly do something that's going to place me in a situation that I don't quite know what it is or how that will be for me. And the ego goes, that sounds risky. Is there any way we can not do that? And it will find a way. It will find a way to stop you. And one of the brilliant things to stop you doing anything that the ego can create is to make it scary. Don't do that. Now, you might not even be aware of it, but there'll be just this fear. And so to consciously want to move towards a new way of being, a new ego, a new I, hi, I'm Jodie, I'm childless. No, I'm not ready for that yet. That is really normal. So I don't want you to think if that's how you feel, if you're kind of putting the brakes on, pressing the pause button, I'm not ready for this course yet. All perfectly normal. If you need to take a break, that's fine, but come back. There's a lot of richness here for you to unpack that will really help. But I don't want you to think you need to be ready to do this. You're probably never going to be ready to do this. However, after you've done it, you might feel more ready. It's kind of crazy. But I have a theory, and this is my own trademarked theory about change, is that, and it's in my book as well, and I call it the backed into the corner theory of change, which is we only change when the fear of changing is less painful than the fear of not changing, i.e. when we're completely out of options. That's usually when most people change. So just be kind to yourself. Don't think that it's in any way that you're doing anything wrong, that you don't want to do this. Really normal, just means your ego is trying to protect you. Once you transition into your new identity, into your childlessness, it will become quite normal. And then that will become your new I. But that movement, that's really, really hard for our ego to cope with. Our soul, I mean, there are many ways to use that. Our consciousness, our soul, I'm not using it in a religious sense, but our deeper self, it's really up for it, but our ego is not. So there may be a real tension in you. There might be part of you that's like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to find a way to make this work for me. That's your soul. And your ego's going, oh, not so fast. Let me just check all the small print. So it's about giving up hope. It's about giving up hope of ever being a mother. Now, you will know that we find that hard, but also people around us find that really hard. I mean, if you say to someone, I'm giving up hope, they'll go, oh, no, you mustn't. I had people say that to me, you mustn't give up hope. It really freaks people out because hope is such an important part of what it means to be human, to kind of have a hope of, it's something that connects us to the future. It's something that has that forward movement that feels so essential to life. But it's not that you're giving up hope. You're giving up hope of a specific outcome, which is not under your control. And what you're actually doing is you're reframing hope. You're choosing a new hope. It's like, actually, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. Actually, what I'm really hopeful for now is that I can find a way to be childless that fills my life with joy in a way that I thought only children would. You'll find that most people, unless they're childless themselves and they've been through that journey, may not understand that that's even possible, but it is. But be prepared that the idea of giving up hope can be challenging for us and also challenging for others, which is why I like to think of it more as redefining hope. And I think also those two words, giving up, they kind of stick in my craw as well. And I think when you've been doing a lot of treatments, it's like, you're not giving up hope. You're not giving up something. That makes it sound like you haven't tried hard enough, or that you could just give it one more go. It's not giving up hope. It's like, I'm making a positive choice to change the direction of my hope and my life. But this expression, giving up, is very strong in the trying to conceive world. And I don't think it's helpful. It's like, I'm moving forwards in a new and hopeful way. So I'd really encourage you to maybe think about the language you're using, what you're communicating with that language to yourself and to others. Because the way we talk to others about ourselves and the way we talk to ourselves has a huge impact on how we feel and how others relate to us. Now, this is going to be a transition in every area of your life and relationships. And that includes within online communities and support forums. Now, the Twig Warriorship has developed a safe space for members like you who are transitioning into childlessness instead of motherhood. You've built a bond and a trust with the members here, and it can be a really good idea to remain connected to each other. They know your story, they know your struggles, and you're all together moving into the next part of your journey, which is transitioning into childlessness. It's really normal, actually, even to resist kind of maybe interacting with that group. You might find that you hover around it for a while, the childlessness part of the warriorship, because it's not the club you wanted to join. You might feel a little bit of envy and find yourself kind of browsing the forums that you used to be a part of within the community and feel envious that you're not quite there. All of this is perfectly normal. Envy is one of those emotions that nice girls aren't meant to feel. Absolute bollocks, to use the technical psychotherapy term. Envy is part of the human emotional repertoire. We all feel it. It's an emotion that signals to us that someone has something that we want and that's really, really important to us. That's all it means. It's a signal of like, that's really important to me. And when it's really important to you and you can't have it, that is a really, really complex feeling, to manage. And what's great about being around in the childlessness group and other childless groups out there is that you can talk about that without people thinking that you're not being nice. Really important to have a space where you can be angry, resentful, judgmental, envy. And jealous is not quite jealous, because jealous is a word that's often misunderstood. Envy and jealousy are not the same thing. Jealousy is actually that someone has come into a relationship that is really important to you and is threatening to take away part of all of that relationship. So envy is about something you want to pull it towards you. Jealousy is like a fear that some relationship or aspect of relationship that's really important to you is being taken away by someone else. So they have quite different directions, often confused. So whatever dark and difficult feelings you have around transitioning into childless, I just want you to know they're perfectly normal. And all of the human experience is welcome in that. something I want to talk about briefly is what I call the butterflies. Now, what's this? Well, what we're talking about in this course is transformation, kind of an identity transformation from that of being someone who was on a TTC journey to someone who is childless. And you'll see a lot of memes on book covers and Instagrams, things like that, with the butterflies. This lovely, lovely, pretty sort of transformational meme. Not so much. It's actually the caterpillars we need to be looking at. Think about the caterpillar. So it's just kind of crawling along one day, munching on a leaf. I guess it's a weird feeling. Lies down on a leaf and then finds his body spinning this cocoon around it. And it finds itself in the hot dark, doesn't know what's happening. And then its entire body turns to mush. Don't tell me that doesn't hurt. And its DNA reconfigures and builds a new body. I bet that's quite crunchy too. And then one day, the chrysalis opens. It's expected to fly. There's never flown before. So for me, the butterfly is like in the air. It's sort of like the end point of the transformation. The hard work, the scary work, the confusing work, the painful work. That's what the caterpillar goes through. But it seems so indicative to me of our society that likes to always make everything bright and happy and cheerful that we look at the butterfly. The work we're doing here, in fact, the work we're nearly always doing in life always has a lot more to do with being a mushy, disgruntled caterpillar than being a glorious, lovely, beautiful butterfly.